get him. Ask him what he asked him.
He probably needs to.
I'm Ryan Bundy. I'm the son of Cliven Bundy.
Okay.
Okay.
So the headline saying that he was a welfare queen, they had that in quotes.
And queen.
Yeah.
Not king, queen.
Queen. What? And he's not on welfare. Why would they say something like that?
Let me tell you about the ethic that I was taught from my father. When I was in 3rd grade in elementary school, we bought 1,000 head of steers from Mexico, Mexican steers. And we put those cattle here on the range, and then the price dropped and we couldn't sell them. We were going to lose money. We ended up taking them several different places across the country and pastures, etc., etc. When it was all said and done, we lost a significant amount of money. And we were poor. Okay? We went to school and we couldn't afford school lunch. We couldn't afford any lunch. So my mother was baking biscuits, and we had beef, of course. It's the ranch. We always have beef. And so she was making roast beef sandwiches and sending us to school with roast beef sandwiches every day. Now, they were good sandwiches. And quite honestly, quite frankly, I should say, rather, is that they were so good that I could take that sandwich and trade it with any other kid in school for anything they had on their plate. And they would come and beg me for my sandwiches. All right? Now, most of the time I didn't trade because I'd rather have my sandwich than what they had on their school lunch plate. Okay, so our lunch was not bad. I enjoyed our lunch. Granted, we didn't have much money. Now, my mother at the time felt sorry for us, felt like we were deprived, and she wanted to sign us up for free lunch. My dad said no. No, he says, we don't take. We're not,
Right.
Again, that's the ethic that I'm talking about. Now, she went against his will, and without telling her whole family history, I'd like to point out that my mother I'm speaking about is not my mother now. I mean, my mother and father divorced, my dad remarried, my stepmom is who I call mother now, and I'm speaking about my birth mother.
Are you talking? Oh, so you're not talking about Carol?
Not talking about Carol. I'm talking about Jane was her name.
Okay.
She went against my father's will and she signed us up for school lunch. Now, again, I'm in 3rd grade, all right? But I knew and understood what was going on. So when I went to school that day without a lunch sack and my sandwich, I didn't go to the lunchroom. I went to the playground. Because at 3rd grade, I had already learned a lesson that I don't take from the government. I don't take welfare. We stand on our own too. Now, I didn't go to lunch. Now, the ladies that run the lunchroom noticed that I didn't come. They come out to the playground, particularly to get me, and said, "You can come eat lunch. Your lunch is paid for." And I refused. I said, "No." Okay? I didn't eat lunch that day. Now, it only went on for about 3 days before my dad got it all figured out, because I told him, and etc., etc., and he went and shut us off the free lunch program. I have never one day eaten a free lunch.
Wow.
Okay? That was the lesson my father taught me, and I had already learned that lesson by 3rd grade. Now, I know that the media wants to paint us as a welfare or people taking, and I understand where this is coming from. It's because they're trying to paint us that way to make us look bad. They're trying to say that we take from the public and don't give back.
Right.
And they're doing this because of the supposed fees that we haven't paid. Now, I have explained that fee system 1,000 times over, and quite honestly, I'm getting tired of having to redo it.
You don't have to tell us. Don't
Maybe
worry
simplify it as you can.
I'll simplify it this way.
Okay.
Our rights existed before BLM existed. Our fees did not pay for our right to use the feed. They were a management fee only. We chose not to have the BLM manage our ranch anymore. Our rights still existed. And so when it comes down to how much do we owe the BLM, we owe them nothing. We didn't sign a contract with them for them to manage our ranch, and our feed and our rights already belong to us. So we're not taking anything from the public. And so,
Okay, so you're the last one out of 53 ranchers, correct?
52, 53,
yeah.
somewhere.
So your other neighbors, what happened to them? Is your dad in contact with them, or?
Some of them, yes, we know some of them. Some of them are, relatives,
Yeah.
family members, neighbors. Not all 53 we don't, no.
Right.
But anyway.
They're in supportive of you, of course, or your family.
Yes.
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 Does your father talk to anybody in Southern Nevada at all? Of the Southern Nevada ranchers there, possibly?
Well, let's say that's what the 52 are. There are no Southern
There-
Nevada ranchers left.
Or I mean, not Southern. I'm sorry, Utah.
Southern Utah or
That's what I meant.
Yeah, Southern Utah.
Does he speak with any of?
Oh, yeah,
those
yeah. We
ranchers,
know a
and
lot of the ranchers in Southern Utah.
Are they having issues at all?
Oh, absolutely. They're having issues. Here they've tried to use the desert tortoise to run ranchers off the land. Up there they're using, the sage grouse, the wild horse, anything they can come up with.
So they're doing the same thing, just
Sure.
with a different species
Sure.
of animal that they're
Yep.
trying to
Mhm.
protect, or
Yeah.
Have they ever came out and tried to arrest Clive Bundy at his
Yes.
house?
No. There's nothing that he has never broken a state law. There's nothing that they could arrest him on.
So it seems just really crazy for this to go on for 20 years and for your family to be bugged for 20 years and really not have, you're still going through the steps.
Well, we're not the only ones, though. They've been doing this to other ranchers. And again, the 52 in Clark County, they're gone. There's ranchers all across Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, California, Oregon, all the western states. We hear about what's going on right now down in Texas.
Yes.
So in other words, we're not an isolated incident. And they have been causing troubles with these other people for 20, 30 years as well. Look at the Wayne Hage case.
How much is the BLM trying to collect in grazing fees?
They have never sent us a bill. They're not trying to collect a single dime.
Never seen.
Mm-mm.
So
Okay.
the fees they're trying to collect, what they call that, trespassing fees?
They're calling it grazing fees, trespass fees, but you know what? They've never sent us a bill and they can't send us a bill. We have no contract with them. And so, again, what I've heard it said, we owe $1 million. Well, itemize that.
Yeah.
We've never seen a bill.
How has this changed your life in the past, since it's the past 3 weeks, I'll say?
Well, the past 3 weeks has been intense. I can say that.
Say the least.
Yeah, we, like I said, we've dealt with these issues for 20 years, and it's not the first time they've tried to gather our cattle. It's actually about the 5th time. But the other 4 times, I think only one of the times that they actually have contract cowboys show up on the range. The other times it was all stopped on paper, beforehand. And that one time the contract cowboys showed up, they didn't have 200 armed agents and sniper guns and everything else. And we were able to stop them, again, with just paperwork,
Right.
before they ever even got on their horses. And so, anyway, so we've been this route a little bit before.
Yeah.
What do you think would be the perfect ending to this situation?
The perfect ending to this situation is state sovereignty for the state of Nevada and all the western states, and to eliminate the federal government's influence over we the people in the states. Okay, back to policing power. Well, back to the Constitution. We give the federal government certain duties to do. Give them certain power to carry out those duties. The power to police is not one of those. The states retain all that. And any federal agency that claims to have policing power, arresting power, or law enforcement power is completely unconstitutional. So part of the resolve that we want to see is that completely taken away from them without question. And We've asked the sheriffs across the country. I understand that there's 3,100 sheriffs, 3,100 counties in the United States. We've put a petition out to the sheriffs. Disarm the bureaucracy in your county.
Right.
Disarm them. Take away their guns, firepower of all sorts. Take away any badge that they have that says law enforcement on it, because they don't. That's not right. Take away, confiscate any vehicle that says law enforcement on it. Okay, whether it be Bureau of Land Management, Forest Service, FBI, Homeland Security, IRS, it doesn't matter. A bureaucracy, a federal agency, does not have that authority.
What was Metro just doing up here?
They were just delivering a message. They were just wanting to make sure that this road remained open.
Okay.
And it is. See,
So
there's a car right there.
So that road does it go to your father's place, or
It goes
this
on
road?
down to just land down
just
there.
keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. What I read on your family's blog spot, I think 2012, about, I haven't researched it yet, but the 100 mile by 100 square mile of plot of land designated for government only. Like, is that the only amount of land they're supposed to have?
No, let me read that for you.
Okay.
That's out of the Constitution of the United States. It's Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 of the Constitution. And okay, it says, Congress shall have power to exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such a district not exceeding 10 miles square,
10 mile. I
Okay.
must have read it wrong then.
as may, by session of the particular states and the acceptance of Congress, become the seat of government of the United States. Okay, that is describing Washington, D.C. In other words, the states, when they made the Constitution, they cut out 10 miles square, and where did it have to come from? Well, it had to come from some of the states, and that's
Right.
why it's mentioned, by session of the particular states. Okay, and Congress, they'll accept this. It become the seat of government. That's Washington, D.C. It's 10 miles
That's
square.
their 10 mile square.
Then 10 miles square. And what did we do? We give them power to have exclusive legislation over that area. In other words, no state legislation can be done on that area. Congress has complete control over that area.
Right.
All right, now it goes on to say, it says, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased by the consent of the legislature of the state in which the same shall be. Okay, so in other words, they can have other land besides that 10 mile square, but they have to purchase it from the state. They have to get the state legislature's consent. Now here's the last kicker there. It can only be used for, right here, the erection of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings. Okay?
Okay.
So, can the federal government own land within an admitted state of the Union? Yes, they can, as outlined in that article.
Right.
Okay? And, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. You know
Right.
that.
Right.
Yes.
And you are experts. I was reading something, I think, about in this Agenda 21. You are just experts at ranching. That's what your family does. You ranch, and that's your expertise.
Yes, so,
Yes.
we have knowledge in some other things, but yes,
Right.
we're ranchers.
Yeah. Okay.
Have they restricted the number of cows? I've heard I'd like to say, like, how many cows you need to run your business, your ranching successfully, and then how many cows they say you need.
They do that to ranchers that they manage. Okay, a rancher that signs a contract with them, and the contract, what is it? It's a management agreement. Okay, so for the ranchers who sign the contract with them, then the BLM does those things. Yes, they say you can only run so many cattle, etc., etc. On our ranch, no. Okay, because the grazing rights belong to us, and we are managing our own ranch.
Okay.
Then they have no right to tell us how many and what so forth. We will check the feed. We will see how, A rancher, a good steward of the land, which a rancher has to be, he's not going to overgraze his land and damage his ranch because then it won't produce next year type of thing. Okay. Now, I can tell you historically, this land has had a lot more cattle on it than what there's now. And I can tell you that there's plenty of feed out there. There are times during drought where we get worried about how much feed's out there. Normally, that's not much of a concern. There seems to be plenty of feed out there. And the type of feed that our cattle eat on this range it's not the grass. I mean, you look out here, you don't see much grass. Well, you know, there's these little grass on the ground, you know, like this. This is called brome. All right. And now they eat this. You know, it's a type of a grass.
Okay.
You know what? They eat this too. They don't like the dry one. They like the wetter stuff down here.
Okay.
But I could probably walk around here and I can pick up probably 50 different specimens that the cattle eat. But because they eat the brush, which is called browse, and most of this range has browse on it, they eat this more than the grass.
Okay.
And in times of drought, there's a lot of this brush still here. And they actually do better on this range than they do on other ranges that just rely on grass.
Right.
And so this is a fairly good range for feed.
How many cattle do you have?
You know, approximately 500
Now, you used to have more, but some perished.
in the roundup. Yeah,
If you did sign the government contract, how many cattle would they want you to have?
0.
0.
That's why the other 52 ranchers are gone. Okay, because they managed them out of business by reducing in numbers to the point that they couldn't stay in business. And so what do? You fold. And so had we signed their contract, we also would have been gone.
And you're still here.
And we're still here. And so they want, you know, you hear the media, they say, this is all about grazing fees. No, had we signed their contract, we would have been gone. It's not about the fees. They didn't want our fees.
Right.
They wanted us gone.
Sounds. Yeah.
Any last words for the public that you'd like to share?
Read your Constitution. Learn for
Agreed.
yourself. We didn't understand these things 20 years ago either.
Right.
But under the pressure, we were forced to learn. And we started to study, and that's how we learn. You know, a lot of people say, well, you paid your grazing fees before. Yeah, we did, because we didn't know any better.
Now you know better.
Now we know better. Well, we learned better, you
Right.
know, 20 years ago.
Right.
But, and we've continued to learn since then. But if America is going to be free, you cannot be ignorant and expect to be free.
We agree with that. I believe so.
Amen.